You guys were expecting someone else, weren't you? Where do dreams, fantasies, and ideas go after they've been born from the mind? They travel to the world of Little Big Planet, where the accumulated thoughts of people form wondrous new worlds made purely out of imagination. Many different kinds of beings exist here. Some little, some big, some nice, some nasty. One type of inhabitant, though, is quite extraordinary. A group of tiny creatures made from cloth held together by string and zippers. They are called the Sackfolk, and of these Sackfolk, one stands out as a true hero among the rest. Sackboy. This unlikely guardian has saved the worlds of Little Big Planet on multiple occasions, rescuing the kidnapped denizens from threats like the Collector or the Negativatron, teaming up with heroes of old to take down powerful titans, and was even able to quell the evil incarnate of nightmares itself. This knitted knight has done a lot to keep Craft World safe, pulling from the power of imagination to help those in need. And now, we'll see just how Sackboy's imagination would fare if he were ever pitted against the many contestants of Super Smash Bros., another world amalgamated from the imaginations of the creators who gave life to them. So, getting right into things, I'd see the petite Sackboy as just that. Petite, being fairly lightweight. He'd have 2 jumps and no additional movement options. Just like for Ratchet, and just like for Sly, Sackboy is in PlayStation All-Stars, but I did not look at that game for this moveset. I only used what was original to the Little Big Planet games. That said, Sackboy is a very interesting case. I imagine that most of you are expecting this to be a super complicated, creative-based moveset, very much like what I did for characters like Steve or the Terrarian. But honestly, no. Little Big Planet, despite advertising itself as a game all about creativity, is really more customizable than it is creative. Sure, you can make your own stages, and don't get me wrong, that requires a large amount of imagination, but the actual game itself, especially its story modes, are fairly linear. The most amount of creativity you can do with it outside of the level creators are the customizable options of Sackboy himself. As such, this moveset will really be more about the abilities that Sackboy himself can do, and will require the player to get creative with how they use those abilities. So really, it's not too much different than any other character already in Smash, but I guess for Sackboy, it's just a little more apparent? It'll make more sense once I start getting into the moveset. So, starting off with Sackboy's jab, he could use his slap attack, the same that he does in the game Sackboy's Big Adventure. He simply does alternating slap attacks forwards to make for a 2-hit semi-spammable jab. By the way, I just want to say that Big Adventure was a huge lifesaver for me. I was worried about what style of combat Sackboy would actually have while playing through the first 3 games, but then I practically wept and rejoiced once I got to this one, since it gave Sackboy a tangible fighting style to pull from. So yeah, expect a lot of Sackboy's attacks to come from Big Adventure. Like his dash attack, for instance. He could use his spin move. This has Sackboy breaking into a spinning lariat to knock away anyone in his path. Eat your heart out, Incineroar! Sackboy does get a little dizzy after using this though, which is a fancy way of saying that it has some end lag. For Sackboy's side tilt, he could use his rude slap attack. This is probably the slap that Little Big Planet fans are more familiar with, since it tends to be used against one another quite often. Sackboy will strike with a backhanded slap forward, a quick and very literal get away from me option. And as a fun detail, if you let the whole animation play out, Sackboy will actually shake his hand in slight irritation if this lands, as if he hit the other guy so hard that he hurt himself. But it's only aesthetic and the animation can be cancelled. For the up tilt, Sackboy can use his slap jump attack, though it is a slightly nerfed version of it. Sackboy will do a small leap while simultaneously swinging his arm overhead from front to back, an anti-air move that can even dodge lower attacks. The down tilt can have Sackboy use his roll move. He does a small leap forward and breaks out into a roll as a curled up ball. He rolls forward a few times before uncurling and getting back up. He's propelled forward each time he does this, and foes hit by the roll will be popped into the air. It also stops at ledges. Now for Sackboy's smash attacks, all three will have Sackboy pull from his Pop It menu. The Pop It menu was what allowed Sackboy to get creative if he had the available resources, using it to customize his appearance, create your own stages, place decorations, and, for what he'll be doing for his smash attacks, utilize stickers. Each smash attack will have Sackboy pull out a certain type of sticker and use it in a specific way depending on which smash attack you're using. For example, for his side smash, I call it Pop It Punch. Sackboy will pull out a random kind of fist sticker and swing it forward with his Pop It line to have the fist punch straight ahead. Despite it just being a sticker, it'll feel like you're getting punched by an actual fist, having amazing power and disjoint. However, and this is a common occurrence for all of the smash attacks, it'll have quite a bit of end lag. For his up smash, I call this one Pop It Grow. Sackboy will pull out a random type of plant sticker and use the Pop It line to have the sticker grow from small to large from the ground like a real plant. It's grown right in front of Sackboy, so it is a disjointed up smash that requires you to understand the space right in front of Sackboy's y-axis. And for the down smash, I dub it Pop It Stomp. Sackboy brings out a random type of foot sticker and uses it to smash the ground right in front of himself. And before you say anything, yes, I see the similarities too. What separates this sticker stomp from the Madonna stomp though is that it will bury opponents who are hit by it while standing on the ground under a certain sweet spot. Otherwise, it just launches foes away. It'll never spike foes. Moving on to Sackboy's aerials, his neutral air can have him spin a couple of times while his arms are outstretched to slap anyone to his immediate left or right. This is a move that launches foes on contact. The forward air can be his air slap, which is a simple horizontal slap attack forward, just now in the air. The back air can be an air rude slap. He quickly turns to swing an arm behind himself to backhand anyone that might be trying to sneak up on him. The up air can have Sackboy do an overhead clap, starting his arms on both sides and quickly bringing them up to clap anyone right above him. The actual clap does have a sweet spot, which will deal more damage and launch foes into straighter angles. And the down air can have Sackboy use his nosedive attack, having him turn upside down and fall straight to the ground head first. Opponents hit by this as soon as he starts to fall will be spiked, and it deals a small amount of sour spot damage if they're hit by him as soon as he collides with the ground. If there is no ground below you though, don't worry, the move will cancel after a bit, so Sackboy should be able to save himself if he uses the nosedive off stage so long as he doesn't go in too deep. To grab foes, Sackboy can use the invention of one Victoria Von Bathysphere, the Grabinator. He reaches forward with the gauntlets and pummels by headbutting the foe. The forward throw can be a simple overhead toss, just like how he throws other Sackfolk or items in Little Big Planet 2, or even how he throws items in Big Adventure. The back throw can be the same, just that he picks them up and tosses them backward. For the up throw, he uses his Pop It menu to place down a bounce pad under the foe's feet, which immediately sends them high into the air. And as a fun detail, the bounce pad will actually remain in that spot for a little bit, which any player can bounce off of as they so please, though it only sends the bouncers a set distance into the air. Then for the down throw, I call it Pop It Drop. Sackboy will quickly spawn a sticker of a normally heavy object and cause the sticker to drop onto the foe. And despite it only being a sticker, it will crush the foe as if it were super heavy, dealing heavy damage and knocking them away. For Sackboy's neutral special, he'll don the Creatinator, a helmet with a cannon on the front that can create and shoot any possible object in existence. And I mean anything. For this special, Sackboy will shoot a wide variety of projectiles from his Creatinator. Tapping the button is what lets him shoot the projectile. If you hold the button down, Sackboy will pull up his pop-it menu and give you a selection of 4 options of possible ammunition, of which you can choose by hovering over what you want with the control stick, then letting the button go. Getting into those 4 options, the first is to fire cakes, turning the Creatinator into a Cakeinator, making the helmet brown with a cherry on top. You fire large gravity-affected cakes. They don't deal a lot of damage, but foes hit by them will get covered in frosting, making their movement sluggish for a bit. And if you shoot a cake into a wall, it'll stick to said wall and become a temporary platform that cannot be passed through. The second option is to fire bombs, becoming a Bombinator and turning the helmet red. This is the most dangerous of Sackboy's options, firing bombs that explode on impact, dealing a deadly amount of damage and knockback. And you do need to be very careful when using this, because the explosions can hurt Sackboy as well. So if you shoot something at point-blank range, Sackboy will not be very happy. The third option has it spit a glob of water, becoming a splash cannon and turning the helmet green with a faucet on the back. Sprayed water deals no damage, but it will shove foes away, so this is mostly only usable as either a defensive item or one to make free fallers upset. This is also technically the only projectile that you can spam. Mashing the button will allow you to spray a proper stream of water, but it will automatically stop after a bit to recharge. This is just to prevent the splash cannon from becoming an insanely broken edge guarding tool. The free fallers will be thankful for that. And for the final option, this is the weirdest but the most versatile option. The Creatinator will fire a completely random object that comes from the Little Big Planet games. While on this selection, the helmet will just be a plain gray color. The gravity-affected objects fired vary in shape and size. They're solid, so they can't be passed through by anything. Players, items, projectiles. The only exception are attacks that can pierce. The random objects, however, can be pushed around simply by walking into them, and you can stand on top of them as well. If the object collides with an opponent after being fired, it'll only deal moderate damage and slightly pop them into the air. Once it hits the ground, though, it just becomes a harmless object. I should mention as well that it's not totally random. Once you switch to the object option, it'll keep firing that same randomly generated object over and over so long as you don't change the ammunition. Once you do change off of it, then change back, that's when it'll start firing a different object over and over again. You're only able to have up to 3 of any object on screen at a time. Trying to fire a 4th will result in failure, and the objects will automatically disappear after a set amount of time, though they will disappear sooner if they're dropped into the blast zone. Now for Sackboy's side special, this can have him use the claw string, also known as the grappling hook, either name works. This is a tether tool. Sackboy fires a claw shot straight forward, being able to also aim it diagonally up or diagonally down as well. If this latches to an opponent, Sackboy will pull himself to that opponent. If it latches to an item or projectile, Sackboy will pull that to himself, then start carrying it. If what he grabbed is a normal item, then he'll carry it just like any other item. But if what he grabs was something that could not traditionally be picked up, such as most projectile attacks, he'll hold it over his head and is able to toss it back whenever he pleases. But he can't use any other action aside from walking or jumping until he tosses it. And of course, the claw string can be used for tether recovery. But moving on to the more traditional recovery, for Sackboy's up special, this can have him use the jetpack. But this will be a rather unconventional use of one. Activating up special has Sackboy pop it in a jetpack onto his back, but then he'll just remain suspended in that spot where the special was activated. He'll keep hovering for a limited amount of time, and once time runs out, the jetpack will disappear and Sackboy will go into freefall. While hovering, you can use the control stick to move Sackboy into any chosen direction. However, you are limited in how far you can go by a chain that's rooted in the spot where you first activated the special. So while you can't go too far, you can move it anywhere you want within that confined space, which by itself is still fairly generous. Pressing the attack button while hovering will cancel it early, immediately putting Sackboy into freefall. Pressing the special button while hovering will have Sackboy pop it in a bomb and drop it straight down. These bombs work identically to the ones shot by his Bombinator neutral special. And lastly, while hovering, if you press and hold the shield or grab buttons when close enough to another player, Sackboy will actually grab that player and is able to move them around in the air while flying, though he flies a little slower thanks to the added weight. Letting go of the shield button has Sackboy let go of the grabbed player and simply drop them straight down, but grabbed players can escape sooner by wiggling the control stick. To bring up a few side notes for this, if Sackboy grabs an opponent who's in free fall, that will reset their up special, but not their mid-air jumps if those were already used. Sackboy is able to grab teammates even if friendly fire is turned off, so he could potentially save falling teammates if he's quick enough. And lastly, after letting go of an opponent, whether intentionally or otherwise, there is a bit of end lag. So while Sackboy can drop a bomb afterwards if he so wishes, he cannot do so immediately. And finally, for Sackboy's down special, this can have Sackboy reset. One function that the pop-it menu also gives to Sackboy is the ability to reset back to the last checkpoint if they find themselves in a situation that they can't get out of. For this down special, he'll be able to take advantage of that here as well. Activating down special has Sackboy use his pop-it menu to place a wooden checkpoint door directly behind himself. That door remains suspended in that spot for a limited amount of time, maybe around 10 seconds or so, after which the door will just vanish. Activating down special a second time while the door is out will have Sackboy pull up his pop-it menu again, but this time select his reset option, which immediately causes him to self-destruct and exit the wooden door he placed earlier, leading to the door immediately disappearing, turning this special into a quick teleport. Great if you find yourself in a sticky situation, but that's not all there is to it. As I said, this is a checkpoint door. When Sackboy places one, it remembers his current damage percent at the moment the door is placed. Then when Sackboy resets back to that door, any damage he sustained between placing that door to the reset will be, well, reset, effectively healing off any damage he took and reverting back to the damage percent he had when he placed the door. This can backfire though if you aren't careful, because if you heal your damage after placing the door with the use of items like the heart container or the Maxim tomato, then choose to reset, then you will gain that damage back. It will always put you back to the exact damage percent that you had when you placed the door. The only exception to this is if you're KO'd, but that's only the case because your checkpoint door will automatically disappear if you are KO'd. That all said, however, you are limited in how often you can take advantage of this. Just like with most checkpoints in Little Big Planet, you only get so many retries. Checkpoint doors that you place will have a white ring of light around them, and when you reset, subsequent checkpoint doors afterward will have a portion of their light turned off. And once the whole white ring is gone, the down special becomes unusable. In simpler terms, you only get 5 resets per stock, so after that 5th reset, you'll have no more extra lives and will have to be KO'd before you can start using the down special again. I should emphasize though that it's only the resets that take up a usage. Actually placing the door will not. You can place as many doors as you want, you're just limited to specifically resetting 5 times per stock. Sackboy overall is a very quirky character. He has a wide variety of tools at his disposal, but you will need to be creative with how you use them. For Sackboy's final smash, he decorates the stage with the flair of his stickers. Doesn't really sound all that spectacular on paper, does it? Sackboy becomes invincible, opens his pop-it menu, and pulls out a random sticker. From there, you can use the control stick to move the sticker anywhere around the screen. Pressing the left trigger will make the sticker shrink, L for little, and pressing the right trigger will make the sticker grow, R for, ridiculously big. Then once you're satisfied with your sticker's size and position, pressing the special button will have Sackboy place the sticker in that spot, covering that area of the screen. Any opponent behind the sticker, once it's placed, will take a large amount of damage and be launched away. And if opponents walk behind the place sticker, they'll move slower and take constant chip damage. But it doesn't end after placing one sticker. You can place as many as you want within the 5-second time limit of the final smash, with the sticker constantly changing to a new random sticker each time you place one. Now, of course, if you want to be effective with it, you will still need to make sure that you aim them properly, and spamming won't quite work. There is a bit of end lag after placing a sticker, but moving the sticker around is pretty fast, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about that. Now, on top of that, the size of the sticker also needs to be factored in. Larger stickers obviously cover more area, making them more likely to hit opponents, but they also deal less damage and knockback, becoming weaker and weaker the bigger they get. Whereas smaller stickers, while being harder to hit opponents with, deal way more damage and knockback. The smaller they are, the more they hurt. Then once the final smash ends, Sackboy will close his menu and all of the stickers will disappear. For Sackboy's colors, just use your own imagination, please. For his stage intro, he pops out of an entrance door and waves to the camera as the door vanishes behind him. And as a fun detail, whenever Sackboy respawns, it'll actually be the checkpoint door that is lowered on the respawn platform, with Sackboy exiting the door once the platform is fully lowered. For Sackboy's taunts, I've decided to actually give him 4, one for each direction on the D-pad. His up taunt can be his happy expression, making a happy face while doing a happy gesture. His left taunt can be his scared expression, looking terrified in the process. His down taunt can be his sad expression, slumping over while looking like he's about to cry. And his right taunt can be his angry expression, looking like he's about to blow a gasket while making a threatening pose. And to add to these, when you use one of these taunts, he'll actually keep holding that face, with his expression only returning to normal if you use the same taunt you last used a second time, or if he's attacked. And finally, for Sackboy's victory animations, his first can show him using his happy laugh gesture, jumping around and laughing in excitement. The second can show him holding a trophy and he poses with it, referencing when you beat levels in Sackboy's Big Adventure. And his final animation can have the camera zoom in on him while he waves his arms around in celebration, a reference to when you beat levels in Little Big Planet 1 and what the winning Sackboy might do after the final score is tallied up. But as yet another fun little detail, during this victory animation, you can actually use the D-pad to change his expression during the animation. Just like with the taunts, up is happy, left is scared, down is sad, right is angry. And that does it for What If Sackboy was in Smash! So, if you enjoyed what you saw and would like to see even more characters be given possible Smash movesets, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to support the show, you can click the join button either below the video, the one on my main page, or the link in the description to become a sponsor for my channel. Doing so will get you access to my Discord server, channel emotes, and more recently added, the option to watch these episodes early, on top of so much more. And of course, if you have a character that you want to see be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below or contact me on Twitter at BrawlFan1 on Twit. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching!